Give me a minute, and let's talk about chief propagandist, Kremlin loudmouth, noted drunk, and driver of the Kremlin clown car that he's packed in with fertilizer and fuel oil and is about to drive over a cliff, Dmitry Medvedev. This guy, in the last 2.5 years, has threatened Russian nuclear strikes against Washington, D.C., New York City, London, Paris, Berlin, Lisbon, because the Portuguese are the real aggressors against Russia, right? Give me a fucking break. In an interview with Al Arabia TV today, Medvedev does a full 180. He says the words, "We would never use nuclear weapons. We are not madmen in the Kremlin." What? You have been screaming about first strikes, threatening first strikes for the last 2.5 years. Now all of a sudden you are reasonable? Why? I'll tell you why. You think Xi Jinping was happy to wake up to news that Russia had fired an ICBM at Dnipro? You think Narendra Modi was happy about it? Oh, I guarantee you they weren't. Nobody is happy about it. Western leaders engaged an emergency session of the NATO Security Council today over it. Suddenly, Medvedev is reasonable, and Russia would never use a nuke. That can only mean one of two things. One, they're getting ready to use a nuke because everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is a lie, right? So there you go. There's one coming. Or, more likely, I think, the attempt to intimidate Ukraine and the West by firing their prototype intermediate range ballistic missile on the city of Dnipro this week. The careless, negligent recklessness with which those 36 separate submunitions of those warheads came into the city, a densely populated area, has caused so much backlash in the world that the boomerang diplomacy that the Kremlin employs that always comes back and smacks it in the face has smacked it hard. It's one or the other. So gird your loins. There might be one coming. But I think more likely we're going to hear less of this bullshit from these guys in Moscow.